I'm a bad motherfucker.
Speaking of our friends, the Houthis, since we're on Rumble and all, making the editor's job hard today. Let me start again to make his life easier.
Speaking of the bloodthirsty terrorist Houthis, yeah.
Speaking of the savage barbarian Houthis who need Western values to be inculcated into them. All right, speaking of the Houthis, U.S. to relist Yemen's Houthis as specially designated global terrorists. That's the worst kind, the specially designated kind. Those are the ones with whipped cream. The Biden administration is expected to soon announce plans to redesignate Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen as specially designated global terrorists, according to two people familiar with the White House decision and a U.S. official. The move comes as the Houthis have launched dozens of attacks on commercial vessels in the Red Sea. The group says it has attacked the ships in response to Israel's military operations in Gaza in the aftermath of Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. Secretary of State Antony Blinken delisted the Houthis as both a foreign terrorist organization and as specially designated global terrorists in February 2021, as the administration sought to make it easier to get food imports and humanitarian aid into Yemen. Yemen, on the tip of the Arabian Peninsula bordering the Red Sea, is the poorest country in the Arab world. War and chronic misgovernment have left 24 million Yemenis at risk of hunger and disease as of 2023, and roughly 14 million in acute need of assistance, the United Nations said. About two-thirds of Yemenis live in territory controlled by the Houthis. You know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like the legitimate government of the country.
Remember I asked why they call the rebels, how much they control?
Yeah, they control most of the country. Kind of sounds like that's the government.
Yeah.
While supporters of broad sanctions argue it's possible to shape any enforcement mechanisms so as to exempt food and humanitarian aid organizations worry that fears of running afoul of U.S. regulation could scare away shippers, banks, and other players vital to Yemen's commercial food supply. Arid Yemen imports 90% of its food. Quote, this designation would add another level of uncertainty and threat for Yemenis still caught in one of the world's largest humanitarian crises, said Scott Paul, an associate director of Oxfam America. Quote, the Biden administration is playing with fire, and we will call on them to avoid this designation immediately and prioritize the lives of Yemenis now. Now, these poor people, we showed a video last week of their children just starving to death there, and these are the people that we are now going to reimpose sanctions on.
This is now, or
but
during
you know,
the siege?
What's that?
This is now, or when the Saudis were siege.
That video was from before, but you don't just recover from that.
No, I'm sure
in a couple of years. But you know, we're pretty sanction happy. Here's a little color-coded map. The red are broad sanctions against the country. So you can see that's a lot of the globe. Obviously, Russia there. Then we have other places where we've sanctioned persons, or we have partial sanctions against the government or government officials. So the real question is why we're not sanctioning Israel if we're so concerned about attacks on ships and shipping. Israel, this is from 2021, Israel has struck at least 12 ships carrying Iranian oil to Syria. According to the Wall Street Journal, since 2019, Israel has struck Syria-bound ships carrying Iranian oil out of fear it would fund regional extremism, unlike Israel, which is the moderating force in the region. And this is from In These Times. This is actually by Noam Chomsky from 2010. For decades, Israel has been hijacking boats between Cyprus and Lebanon and killing or kidnapping passengers, sometimes holding them hostage in Israeli prisons. Where is the call to bomb Israel from the Western media and political class? So this, you can look this up. This is called The Real Threat Aboard the Freedom Flotilla.
Yeah.
The United States said that it sold oil from Iran seized on its way to Venezuela 2 countries under U.S. economic sanctions for more than $40 million. So apparently we get in on the Piracy Act too, and we seize people's ships.
Privateers. We're privateers.
We're privateers. Very good. The U.S. and its client states have illegally hijacked commercial vessels, killing and torturing its crew and civilians for literally decades with total impunity, as the Western media class cheers it on as the height of morality. And now they're crying crocodile tears about Yemen. And here's somebody who was on the U.S. terrorist watch list.
Until 2008?
So the Houthis are in good company.
Wait a minute. 2008, I thought Lethal Weapon 2 settled that he wasn't a terrorist for America.
You know, nobody watched that one. So yeah, this is Time Magazine. It's hardly a fiery radical source. So yes. So the Houthis will probably be celebrated as paragons of freedom and liberation. Well, you just have to give it 40 years.
No, did you see the kid on TikTok? The one he's like the hot Houthi rebel? That's why my goddaughter texted me, what about the Houthis? And it just dawned on me why she was even thinking about that. Is because that cute, there's some picture that went viral of like a handsome Houthi.
Are you saying the Houthis are coming for our white women?
Yeah, he was interviewed by
she's Colombian. But yeah.
I think it was Hassan Piker interviewed
did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a real dreamboat.
So this he's dreamy. They're casting him as the new Ken for the sequel, the Barbie sequel. All right, so this is the Yemeni Houthi
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit